Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I sell Stampin' Up! Products. In today's tutorial, I would like to show you how I made this card using the Royal Peacock stamp set. It is a spinner card, so when you open it up, it spins. And this card was inspired by Dawn from the Glitter Pit, so I used a lot of her measurements, although I did change the inside mechanism just a tad. So we will start off with, I'll show you some of the pieces you're going to need actually. So you're going to need either DSP or embossed paper, and this measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then these are from the stitch nested dies. This is the second smallest and this is the third smallest one. And then you're going to need your base, and your base is the typical standard 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. So nothing unusual there. And then this is where it gets a little different. You're going to need 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, and these will be for the inside mechanism. So to explain that, I have a little template here, and I'll go ahead and show you how to score this. So I'm going to bring in my stamping trimmer, and we'll get started. So I'm just going to extend this arm, and the first measurement I'm going to do is the 1 inch, and you could do it from the other direction, but this has more support here, so I kind of like doing it this way. And then I'm just going to turn it around and we'll start the next score marks. So the next one will be 2 3/4. So I'm just lining it up here, 2 3/4. Then we're going to do 4 1/2. So right here. Now this base of this cardstock measures 3 3/4 across. And okay, so I got cut off a little, but I'm bringing in my big shot, and what we're going to do is cut out a half circle, 2 layers here. So here's our ridge here, or mountain, and then we're just going to bring it over here, center it on either side, and I like to use a little bit of tape because this is double 2 layers. It can shift a little, so just to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 layers there. I mean, use a little tape. So just crank it through, and then I crank it back. So that is that part. I just wanted to show that just so you can see. It's actually quite simple. This is the second largest, I might have mentioned that, of the layering circle dies. So that, we'll just set that aside, and you now have a piece that resembles like this. So you will want it like this eventually, but right now I'm going to go ahead and bring in the thread. You're going to need, this is the silver metallic thread, and you're going to need it double thick. So I would say just about 1 inch on either side of this, just to give yourself a little leeway. And this is very fine, so it might be hard to see this. So what I like to do is flip it over here, and you're going to need your glue dots. So bringing in the glue dots, I have a little handy here. I will just pull up one and set it in the center here. And then, I do have one right here. And we have now this part ready to go. So I want to create a little circle here. So I'm going to bring in my punch, and this is Starburst, it's called, and I have a few scraps of the Glimmer paper. So I'm just going to go ahead, cut out, or punch out. And I might have, yeah, that one kind of is a bummer. I kind of got the edge. Oh well, no one will notice, I'm sure. All right, so I tried using glue on this and it did not go well. So this is equivalent to Fast Fuse. You can buy this at Michael's or on Amazon. So what I suggest is just use something, and this is called Extreme Tombow, something like that. I normally love my liquid Tombow glue, but for this I found that this was actually a better choice. Okay, so I'm just going to lay it across and let it stick there. And then I'm going to try to mate this one up. And of course, because it's got those little starburst, you have to be a little bit more careful than like a circle. But that's pretty good. So now we have this part. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping real quick so we can add this. And so my piece for, oh, where are those pieces? For stamping. I gotta have it somewhere here. I think I might have left it. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, so I'm gonna pause this and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I have my little stitched pieces. You're gonna need 2 of these for stamping. So I'm going to stamp "So Very Proud of You." And I think this is a great little sentiment for a lot of different occasions. I have made a card that I will be giving to my nephew. He's starting college, that is a little less girly than this one that I'm making now. This one's more for a woman or a girl. Okay, so you won't, this is the foam thing covered in paper, and that helps with making sure that you're getting a good impression when you stamp with photopolymer. So bringing all of our pieces back in, what I like to do is because I'm a visual person, I want to make sure that I can see what I'm doing. So I actually have this, well, wait, okay. Yeah, see, I'm already confusing myself. I actually put this on the wrong way. Okay, so let's see if I can fix this, which I should be able to, no problem. I just scored it the opposite way than I should. And of course, these glue dots are a bit of a problem. Let's see if I can pull it off. Sometimes you can with glue dots, so not to worry. If you ever do that, you want to just gently pull them off. Of course, you can't really reuse them. All right, so that's also why it's a good idea to hold this in place so you know just how it's going to go. So the main reason you can kind of see an imprint here, which isn't very good if you do what I had. All right, so starting back again, I am going to actually go ahead and put the mechanism on. So we want a glue dot on each one. Here we go. And then we're going to just center this and put this on. Right, like so. Okay. So the next part is going ahead and attaching this. So I like to do that before adding the sentiment. So I'm just going to quickly, actually, yeah, I'll do this one part real quick. So we add a little glue here. Sorry about all my little mistakes. This card is actually pretty simple, but you can confuse yourself. Now, when I'm here, I want to make sure that I'm getting up to that score line, but I'm not going over it. And a little bit of leeway is a good idea, so that you have some room for bending, etc. Okay, so before I attach that part, now I'm going to go ahead and add this part. So I suggest go ahead and use some glue dots or fast fuse. So I'm just going to use the fast fuse. Oh, sometimes it Doesn't cooperate. And I'm going to just lay this here and have it the right direction. So this part is kind of important. I like to do it right at this point while it's in place so you don't get anything mixed up. Now, it's not going to go directly behind like that. You're just going to flip it around and have it the very same way so that when it spins, you'll be able to see it. It'll be the correct direction all the time. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this extreme, and we're going to close up the card. So now we have the mechanism in place, and we're just going to carefully snip the tips, and it's all done. Now, one thing you could do is add a second glue dot once you put the string on, but this should definitely hold it very well. Okay, so now we're just going to decorate the front. I already have run this through the Beads and Baubles embossing folder, and I added some of this white satin ribbon with metallic edge. And we will just go ahead and attach this. So I'll just get my Tombow, and I'd like to just glue it behind, tape it behind with some regular Scotch tape. So very easy to do. So here we go. And then we're going to do stamp our beautiful peacock. Okay, so we're going to set this aside temporarily, and I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus. I have actually used 3 of the major tools today. Sometimes I don't use any of them on a video. So I was kind of brave. Of course, I made a few boo-boos too, but you know, that's to be expected. Okay, so I already die cut out the image of the peacock. And the first layer I'm going to go ahead and do is with Granny Apple Green. Oh, I need to put this in. I was like, why is this so loose? Okay, so just ink it up, and I kind of feel like I missed a little here. So just come back, press it with your hand, and then it always seems to stick, so I just kind of gently have it release, and that's a very good impression. I'm definitely not going to do a second one. Now I'm going to bring in my Bermuda Bay, and I like this color combination. And when I made the first, actually technically the second card that I showed at the beginning, I was thinking adding a little Melon Mambo would be really pretty, and I think it's going to add a nice little touch with the sentiment. So here we have our beautiful peacock, and now I can just set this aside, and I'll deal with that later. So here we go. Now I'm going to bring in my mat here so that we can do a little bit of stamping. So what I wanted on this one was this sentiment that says, "You are incredible," and I thought this would be more of a general card compared to the other one, which was definitely birthday. But either one could work. This could also be nice for a thank you card. So that's how that looks. All right, so there we have our sentiment, but I did go ahead and layer it with the Melon Mambo, and I added one of these amazing, where are they? Here it is. These glitter enamel dots. So those are wonderful. I absolutely love them. All right, so we're going to bring back in our base and keep assembling. So I want this to layer together, and I'm just going to go ahead and attach this part, and I've already added some dimensional ends. So I use every piece of my dimensional sheet. So you can cut off like little strips and all kinds of things. So nothing should go to waste, in my opinion, about the dimensionals. Okay, so here we have our sentiment, and now it's just a matter of adding this around it. I want this one tucked under and this one raised up. So it's going to be kind of like that. So I know I'll need some dimensionals up here. Just going to bring in some big dimensionals, some smaller ones. As you can see, I definitely utilize the whole package. Okay. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the center of the tail feathers. I want to be able to have a little bit of leeway there to tuck things under. So you'll see what I mean in a sec. All right, so I'm tucking this part under and the bird body part over top. So see how that works? It just really ties it together, and I still have a lot of leeway here. So I have gone ahead and die cut out some of, you know, the glitzy tail feathers, which I'm trying to find. Here they are. And the best way I found is to not bother trying to punch it out until you're ready just to take it out. And then you have a piece like this. So there are just a few that are not supposed to be in there, but a lot of it comes off with that adhesive backing if you're using adhesive backing. So just a little tip to save you some time. So I'm just bringing back in my card just to kind of visually compare as I do this, so that I can kind of create the same look. I'm snipping a little bit off, and I think these are identical. So I'm just going to start off with this one up here and lift up that tail feather so it looks like it's coming out. And I'm not going to push it down yet because I might need to adjust it a little further. So here is my tail. Oh, so see how it kind of gets all messed up if you try to do too much. So again, use your little pokey tool, and most of it though has already come out. So again, I'm going to snip this one, and we're going to do a little bit of tucking under. And I'm glad I kind of waited with this one because I kind of want to shift it a little bit. Okay, so that's how I assembled the front. Now, for my first one, I did do these silver metallic sequins, and these are a retired item. So for this one, I thought we would just use the basic rhinestones, which is still current in the catalog, to decorate a little bit on the tail feathers. So I'm going to use a couple different sizes, mostly the small ones, because we're going to use a lot. It does come with the rhinestones that match the set, but I did not use the colors that are part of the Noble Peacock DSP. I used a little bit different variation with the Granny Apple Green and Bermuda Bay, and I just like to change things up sometimes. There's no right and wrong, so I thought it'd be fun to just do a little bit of a different color scheme and make this one definitely a girly card compared to the other was more gender neutral. The colors, it was the blueberry bushel, old olive, and the pretty peacock, which is gorgeous, by the way. All right, so I'm almost done here. I could always add a few more later. But you can see you can add a ton here, and it's just really cool. One more, we're gonna call it good. Okay, so here we have our blinged up peacock, and the only last thing I wanted to do was I want to add this. Oh, I forgot to add this one final piece. So you could leave it like that and it wouldn't be odd, but this is the piece that goes up. Well, I ran out of space on my memory card, so it cut me off, but basically all I did was add this little piece here, and I also added this sparkly feather right here. So I think this is a really adorable card, and I hope you agree. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. What you'll want to do before you close the envelope is wind it up and then closing it here, and then when you open it, it goes like that. So it's a really cool card. Anyhow, if you have any stamping needs, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to help you place an order with the host code. So I'm going to bring back in my original card real quick. And this is, of course, with the sequins instead of rhinestones. But I really love this Melon Mambo pop of color here. And then this was my more masculine card, which I will probably send to my nephew. So I love this Noble Peacock set. It's just so much fun. If you have, if you're on the fence about ordering it, definitely go for it, and please consider ordering from me. All right, have a great day and happy stamping.